pulled me along, and set an example. He set the standard.
He meant everything to me. I mean, he was a positive example of elegance and good taste. He was a source of pride for millions of African Americans.
And I get a call, and on the other end of the phone says, "Hi, Jamie Foxx." Who's this? This is Oprah. You're blowing it, Jamie Foxx.
Sidney Poitier, a name once synonymous with breakthrough dignity and groundbreaking cinema. But behind his iconic rise, there's a much darker story about how Hollywood used him as a pawn in their game of fame and fortune.
It was remarkable how many times thank you and please opened doors for me.
For years, Poitier was the industry's golden boy, a symbol of progress, but only as long as his success filled their pockets and enhanced their image.
The years were hard, and I had no money to send home.
The man who had once defined success for an entire industry suddenly disappeared. What happened when Hollywood decided Sidney Poitier was no longer their golden asset? Let's find out. In the flashy world of Hollywood, where stars rise and fall like shooting stars, Sidney Poitier was a giant. His groundbreaking career opened doors for so many black actors, becoming a symbol of hope and inspiration. But even though he paved the way for others and was a role model to so many, it seems like some black celebs are trying to undo everything he worked for. Word around town is that Oprah Winfrey might be one of them. And let's be real, the moment Sidney Poitier started pushing boundaries, outshining the very system that made him, Hollywood didn't celebrate him. They saw a threat, they pulled him back, silenced him. And when his star began to outshine their manufactured machinery, they quickly erased him from the spotlight. Let's talk about how Sidney Poitier has inspired so many people. A perfect example of this is Denzel Washington's emotional tribute to Poitier at the AFI Life Achievement Awards in 1992. It really shows just how much of an impact Poitier had on up-and-coming actors, especially in the African-American community. Denzel shared the story of his first meeting with Poitier, and you could feel the deep admiration and respect he had for the legendary actor.
He's like the point man, he's the car that's out front. And we all sort of been riding in his draft.
What really stands out in Washington's tribute is how he highlighted Poitier's willingness to offer guidance and support without expecting anything in return. Unlike some Hollywood elites who use their status to keep things exclusive or create a sense of hierarchy, Poitier mentored with genuine generosity. He was all about lifting others up.
He was very kind to me, and I felt at that point we were friends, so I did what any friend would do, any actor would do. I took out my picture and resume, started begging for a job. But he was very patient with me. He was very kind to me. And he didn't give me a job.
In Washington's tribute, he mentions how Poitier didn't just offer him a job, but instead gave him priceless time and advice. This really shows how Poitier was all about helping others grow, creating opportunities without looking for anything in return. His approach was a stark contrast to the usual gatekeeping that happens in Hollywood, where getting a foot in the door often depends on personal connections or favors. By acknowledging Poitier's role in his own success and expressing gratitude for the guidance he received, Washington emphasizes how Poitier was committed to lifting others up, especially African-American actors, who were fighting against barriers and stereotypes. This was a far cry from those who hoard opportunities or keep their advice to themselves to protect their own status. Poitier's legacy is all about openness, generosity, and genuinely supporting those who came after him. He wasn't just sharing advice, he was sharing his time, wisdom, and experience, creating a space where others could succeed. That's what made him such a standout figure in Hollywood. But word on the street is that some of the Hollywood elites who were close to Poitier, like Oprah and Quincy Jones, might have had other influences on him.
Yeah, he's right there. And it was Sidney Poitier.
I was going to say, I bet you they brought out Sidney Poitier.
Standing in a tuxedo.
Take Jamie Foxx, for example. He's been a major player in entertainment for decades, with an Oscar, Grammy, and a best-selling memoir under his belt. In a recent interview with Access Hollywood's Scott Evans, Foxx opened up about how his career could have taken a totally different path. Back in 2005, he was riding high on the praise he got for his portrayal of Ray Charles in Ray, a role that won him an Academy Award. But instead of enjoying the spotlight, he got caught up in a partying spree. Oprah, noticing this, reached out to him out of the blue with some advice. She said, "You're blowing it," Fox told Access Hollywood. "Because we were just out hanging, we weren't taking the moment serious." She said, "I want to take you somewhere so you can understand the significance of what you're doing." Jamie Foxx's recent bombshell about Oprah Winfrey allegedly playing a role in connecting him with Quincy Jones has set social media on fire. Fox's claim that she may have essentially pimped him out to Jones came as a shock to many, but the weight of his words has sparked serious conversations. As someone with decades in the entertainment industry, an Oscar, a Grammy, and a best-selling memoir under his belt, Fox's revelations carry undeniable clout. Interestingly, in a recent interview with Scott Evans on Access Hollywood, Fox shared that his career might have taken a very different path if not for Oprah's timely advice, adding even more layers to this complex narrative.
Do the right thing, because we counting on you, because we never would have thought this would happen.
In 2005, Jamie Foxx basked in the acclaim for his outstanding portrayal of Ray Charles in the biopic Ray, a performance that earned him the coveted Academy Award for Best Actor. However, amidst the celebrations, Fox found himself caught up in a whirlwind of continuous partying. It was during this period that Oprah Winfrey unexpectedly extended a helping hand. While Fox initially thought her intervention was driven by genuine concern for his well-being, little did he realize that she harbored her own undisclosed agenda all along. She said, "You're blowing it," he said. She said, "I want to take you somewhere so you can understand the significance of what you're doing." Fox said she took him to meet Sidney Poitier and Quincy Jones. While doing impressions of the two men, Fox said that Jones told him to buckle down, in that he was F everything else up with his antics. "You can do it, man. We're counting on you, baby," Fox said as Jones. So, Jamie Foxx once spilled the tea about a night when he saw Sidney Poitier at Quincy Jones's place, partying it up with a bunch of other black men. Naturally, this scene set off a wildfire of gossip, with some people questioning if Poitier might be gay. Let's be real, can you blame them? In Hollywood, where everyone loves a good rumor, the sight of such a legendary figure in a lively party like that definitely raised some eyebrows. As the whispers started flying, folks began connecting the dots, wondering if this was just a casual hangout or if there was something more going on behind the scenes. Fox said he met several actors and actresses he looked up to as a kid at the party, and they all congratulated him and said they liked his work. But Oprah brought Fox to the party so he could meet one person in particular, Sidney Poitier. Standing in a tuxedo in the corner was Sidney Poitier, Fox said. "I walked up to him and he said, 'I watched your performance and I grew 2 inches. I leave you with one thing, responsibility.' Ho." Fox thought to himself after hearing Poitier's wisdom, "OS, no more after parties. I got to get my sh together." Fox did just that. He ended up taking his daughter to the Oscars and scaled back on partying. He ended up winning the Oscar, a moment to this day he still refers to as life-changing. Not only this, Jamie was also allegedly warned by the people present there. Jamie recalled saying that they said, "From now on throughout your career, you are responsible for what you give and what you show," he said. Poitier told him, "And I have done as best I can to sort of live up to that because it is very important." While such an interaction might not raise an eyebrow with anyone else, the fact that it came from Quincy Jones appears to have sent shivers down Jamie Foxx's spine. And here's why. For anyone with even a slight interest in Hollywood, Quincy Jones needs no introduction. A legendary producer, musician, and songwriter, he's often referred to as the Black Godfather of the industry. Jones boasts an impressive career, having produced for iconic artists like Frank Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, Rufus, and Chaka Khan, and most notably Michael Jackson. However, his fame isn't solely tied to his musical prowess. However, for decades, Quincy Jones's S has been a topic of intense speculation and discussion, creating a consistent buzz on the internet.
Let me tell you something. That means Quincy's gay. Quincy might be on, and let me tell you why I think this.
Now, Quincy calling Jamie baby is something that's definitely raised some eyebrows, and we'll tell you why.
And Oprah says, "Okay, you want to meet who you're supposed to meet here?" I said, "Yeah." He's right there. And it was Sidney Poitier.
Poitier then went on to speak to Fox, saying,
"I saw you one time. You were at a party. Do you remember that?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm well enough." He says, "I want to give you one thing."
What really made a difference to Fox, though, was the fact that it was Sidney Poitier's birthday.
Everybody sits me down. It was actually Sidney Poitier's birthday. They made me understand the significance of it.
Like the history of it.
Despite being connected to some shady dealings, Oprah Winfrey has always claimed to be inspired by Poitier's legacy. During 2021's Black History Month, she shared her thoughts with ET's Kevin Frazier, opening up about how Poitier's legacy laid the foundation for her and many others in the industry. When I tell you profoundly, I could start weeping right now. I was profoundly, deeply, sincerely moved by that moment, Winfrey said, looking back on Poitier's historic Oscar win for Lilies of the Field. At the time, the future talk show host was only 10 years old. We were being called colored people at the time, and I had never seen a colored man look like that or present like that. And I just thought, if he could do that, I wonder what I could do, she added. And because he did that, I was able to do what I have been able to do in the world, and every single other Black person who followed. It only happened because he was able not just to do that, but to be that. It's what he represented: his dignity, integrity, presence, grace, sense of honor, choice of characters, only doing, and choosing roles that were going to reflect the best of what a Black person could be in the world. Looking back on his filmography and what Poitier achieved as an actor, especially during the Civil Rights Movement, Winfrey points out that beneath the surface of all of his work, underlying all of his work, was the cry for and the plea for working towards racial justice in the world in a way that he was able to humanize Black people, she added, and that was his intention and his goal. Poitier, Winfrey noted, was the person who opened the door for Black people in Hollywood and on screen. From film to TV, his very presence in the world, not just as an actor but also as a father and a human being, laid the groundwork for people like her and future generations who will benefit from his work. There would be no Kevin Frazier sitting up on Entertainment Tonight without Sidney Poitier, she said. We're part of the chain, but he was the first link. Winfrey knew Poitier for many years, and their relationship turned into weekly calls that she lovingly referred to as Sundays with Sidney. She told ET that it was one of the greatest joys of her life, especially for the 10-year-old version of herself. I not only got to meet him, but got to know him in such a way that he enhanced my life, she gushed. So I mean, love him, just love him. But now, many can't help but wonder, if Poitier was Oprah's mentor, why didn't she emulate his kindness and openness when it came to creating opportunities and opening doors for other up-and-coming Black actors? In fact, Oprah has been accused of doing the opposite. Just recently, Monique stirred the pot again by demanding an apology from Oprah for allegedly blackballing her in the industry.
For Oprah Winfrey, you owe me an apology.
And then there's Taraji P. Henson, who almost walked out of an Oprah-produced film because she felt she was being underpaid. Despite being surrounded by some controversial Hollywood figures, Sidney Poitier lived an incredible life. Born in Miami on February 20th, 1927, his parents, Evelyn and Reginald Poitier, were from Cat Island in the Bahamas. They were only in Florida temporarily to sell produce, while Reginald worked as a cab driver. Poitier was born 2 months premature and was so frail that his parents stayed in Miami for an extra 3 months to make sure he would survive.
And to send a letter without something in it was very hard.
Poitier's journey in the entertainment industry began with significant challenges. Despite joining the American theater, his early performances were met with rejection from audiences. His inability to sing, a rarity among Black actors of his time, posed a major obstacle. Determined to overcome these setbacks, Poitier embarked on a mission to improve his acting skills and shed his Bahamian accent. For 6 months, he immersed himself in rigorous training, modeling his speech after radio personality Norman Brokenshire. His persistence paid off when, on his second attempt in theater, Poitier secured a breakthrough opportunity, landing a leading role in the Broadway production Lyceste Strada, though the play had a short-lived run. However, this stint earned him an invitation to understudy for Anna Lucasta, marking a pivotal moment in his burgeoning career. It was during this period that Poitier forged a friendship with fellow performer Harry Belafonte, further cementing his connections within the industry. In 1947, Poitier became a founding member of the Committee for the Negro in the Arts, CNA, aligning himself with a group dedicated to addressing class and racial exploitation from a left-wing perspective. His involvement extended to serving as vice chair of the organization in the early 1950s. Poitier's commitment to progressive causes, evident in his participation in events like the Negro History Festival, eventually led to his blacklisting for a period.
You're implying that there was something wrong by my not being nominated.
Despite facing repercussions for his political affiliations, Poitier remained steadfast in his principles. He refused to sign a loyalty oath, even when asked in connection with potential film roles. His unwavering integrity and commitment to his convictions set him apart, allowing him to emerge not only as a trailblazing actor, but also as a symbol of resilience and moral fortitude in the face of adversity. Poitier's star continued to rise as he ventured into new territories both geographically and artistically. In 1951, he traveled to South Africa alongside fellow actor Canada Lee to star in the film adaptation of Cry, The Beloved Country. His performance in this poignant tale further solidified his status as a formidable talent in the industry. Poitier's versatility was once again showcased in 1955's Blackboard Jungle, where he portrayed Gregory W. Miller, a member of a rebellious high school class with unparalleled skill and depth. Given Sidney Poitier's extensive career and the challenges he faced, it's likely that he gained a deep understanding of the inner workings of the Hollywood industry. Having navigated the racial and political landscapes of his time, Poitier's seniority in the industry would have given him insight into its complex dynamics, both the visible and hidden aspects.
In order to fashion an escape hatch for myself, I would become an actor.
As one of the first African-American actors to break through in such a significant way, Poitier was not only breaking barriers for himself but also paving the way for others in an industry that had long been dominated by racial and social barriers. His early experiences, including his resistance to political pressures and his refusal to conform to the industry's racial limitations, likely gave him a keen awareness of how power structures and gatekeepers operate within Hollywood. One of his fans wrote, "Oprah Winfrey is just no good and never have been." Another one added, "Power will always corrupt the selfish, greedy, and weak-minded." By working with major industry figures like Darryl F. Zanuck and performing in films that challenged racial norms, Poitier would have gained a unique perspective on the industry's machinery, its systems of control, its impact on representation, and the way opportunities were meted out. Moreover, his commitment to progressive causes and his role in the Committee for the Negro in the Arts would have deepened his understanding of the entertainment industry's role in both shaping and reflecting societal attitudes. Through decades of experience, Poitier would have developed a strategic understanding of how Hollywood worked, how deals were made, and how stars were created or destroyed by the people behind the scenes. His relationships with influential figures, including fellow actors, directors, and producers, would have provided him with a network of industry insiders, further bolstering his knowledge of its inner workings. As a senior figure, Poitier's wisdom would have extended beyond acting, encompassing the broader dynamics of the business. This insight would have made him an invaluable figure not just as an artist but as a mentor, advising younger actors and filmmakers on how to navigate the challenges and opportunities within Hollywood.